NetBackup Interfaces. So in this session, we're going to learn about different NetBackup interfaces which can be used to administrate and manage the NetBackup. So before we talk about the NetBackup interfaces, some introduction about NetBackup and the different NetBackup softwares. So NetBackup is basically a software which lets you to do backups based on the schedules. It can be schedule based on the frequency or a calendar based one. So this lets you to schedule full backups, incremental backups, user backups, and user restores and all of that. So NetBackup software basically comes in two different forms. One is server software, other one is client software. Server software resides on the computer that manages the storage devices and basically the NetBackup catalogs. So client software is something which gets installed on the servers from which the data has to be backed up. So when we talk about the server software can be installed in two different servers. One is basically master server, the second one is media servers. So master server is the server who manages the backup, archives, and restore. This is also responsible for the media and tape devices and storage devices. And this also hosts the NetBackup catalog, which basically contains the NetBackup backup information, configuration information. The media server is going to be a guy who manages storage devices. When we say storage devices, it can be a kind of a tape storage device, or it can be a disk storage device, or it can be an open storage, open appliance as well. So media servers can be a device host which has the tape devices connected to it, or it can be a storage server which has the disk directly attached to it, or it can be a data mover who basically takes the data from the client servers and get them stored onto the open storage appliances. So during the backup process, the data comes over the network. So depending on the type of backups you do, it can be over a LAN or it can be over a SAN. So about NetBackup administration interfaces, NetBackup provides multiple interfaces which can be used to administrate the NetBackup. So there are multiple ones. So if you look into this table, NetBackup administration console, Java Windows administration console, remote administration console, and there is one called character-based menu interfaces, and also command lines. So NetBackup administration console is basically the recommended console to manage the NetBackup. This can be opened by navigating into the start menu on the Windows computers, or in case of Unix servers, if the Unix server supports Java, you can actually open this console by executing jnbse command. But if in the case you are having Java non-supported Unix operating system, you will need to open the Java administration console. So though NetBackup administration console is the recommended one, but I believe Veritas is changing it. So now it's also now it is going to be Java Windows administration console is the recommended console, and I believe they're gonna stop supporting administration console very soon. So Java administration console is basically the console which can be installed on any of the computer, any of the Windows computer. So to manage any of the Windows master server, or it can be a Unix master server which does support, or it can be a Unix operating which does not support Java as well. So remote administration console is basically a console which comes with two different components. One is basically NetBackup administration console and the client software. Basically, when you install remote administration console, you get the benefits of NetBackup administration console and the client software. That's going to be, you can actually manage, or whatever the functionality you get with NetBackup administration console, you're going to get that. On top of that, you also get the client software, which lets you to backup clients and any other clients as well, right? So character-based menu interfaces. So NetBackup also provides few of the menu-driven interfaces for the Unix platforms. So few of them are NetBackup management, media management, and device management. So NetBackup management, basically under NetBackup management, there are multiple number of topics or multiple number of components you can manage. So we're going to talk about the components a little later. So for now, whatever the things which is under NetBackup management can be managed by executing a command called bpadm. So the same stuff for media management. So there are a few things like the medias. You can actually add tapes. You can actually add them into a different volume pools. You can actually create tape devices, create robots, change the configuration of them. So all of these things basically, I'm sorry. So only about the media, the tapes comes under the media management. Whatever the thing we disconnect, whatever the thing about tape devices and robots comes under device management. So to execute the media management utility, you will need to run vm-adm, and in case of device management, it's going to be a tpconfig command. So addition to all of this, NetBackup also provides many of the command line interfaces, which basically lets you to execute or basically a display configurations. You can actually change them, you can actually remove them. So whatever the functionalities you can do in the graphical interfaces can also be done in the command line. In fact, many other things which you cannot do in the graphical interfaces can be done through the command line interfaces. So whatever the interface we have seen up above, like NetBackup Administration Console, Java Administration Console, and Remote Administration Console, this interfaces does not require a license. These are basically free components to manage NetBackup and can be installed on any of the computer. So if you look into the screen, this is basically the semantic NetBackup server software installation wizard. So there you can actually install the NetBackup Remote Administration Console without even specifying any of the key. So you see this NetBackup master and media server are grayed out because you didn't have the you didn't have the right key here. But as and when you put in the key, these two options will be enabled. But this option does not require a key, so it is available for installation on any of the computer. NetBackup Java Administration Console. So this get installed with the NetBackup software, which gets installed on the Windows operating system. But if in a case you want to have this, you want to administrate the NetBackup Unix service or Windows service from your computer, you can actually install this Java Administration Console on your laptops and desktops. And as I mentioned, this does not require any key to install, license key. And when you execute the installation wizard, you'll be finding this option called Java Windows Administration Console, and this is purely for 64-bit only. So when you go with this menu, it'll install Java Administration Console, and as and when it is installed, you can actually open this by navigating to Start Program Semantic NetBackup and Java version 7.6. As and when you open that, you'll be given with a screen which asks the server name and the username and password. As and when you feed in that and say login, it will take you to the administration console. So if in a case you are having multiple servers running multiple versions of NetBackup, you can actually manage them by using the single administration console. So this particular page talks about the back level console configuration. So when you look into this configuration, there are two different things. One is basically NetBackup Administration Console. The second one is Java Administration Console. So NetBackup Administration Console, the Windows NetBackup Administration Console, provides the back level console configuration, but for not all of them. So for an example, if in a case you are running NetBackup 701 console and you want to administrate 70, you can still do that because the first digit and second digit is matching to the NetBackup version which runs on the master server. But if in a case you are having NetBackup 701 administration console installed and you are willing to manage NetBackup 7.1, you cannot do that because the first two digit of both these components are not matching. So if you look into this picture, you will very well understand this. So you have 701 administration console running, and if you want to manage 70, you can still do that. If in a case you are having 701 administration console running, and if you want to manage your NetBackup server which has 76 running, you cannot do that because the second digit is not matching. If you look into this third one, it says the administration console version is 7101. You can still manage 71 because the first two digits are matching. And the last one says you are having 7103 in backup administration console. if you want to manage 70, you cannot, because the second digit is not matching. But if in the case of Java based administration console, this basically gives an attribute in the command which lets you to manage all of the lower versions of the backup. So if in a case you are running 7.6 Java based administration console, this can let you to manage any of the NetBackup version that's going to be 7.5, 7.0, 6.5 and 6.0 as well. So if you look into this picture, this says if in a case you are running 7.6 administration, the Java based administration console, you can actually manage 6.0 as well. But when you open this Java console, instead of you just execute this Java console just by providing JNBSA, you will need to specify the release version which you want to manage, which you are willing to manage. So if in a case you want to manage 6.0 and you are having 7.6 administration console installed, you will need to execute this Java console by giving that 6.0 as the attribute to this -r attribute. So the command will be something like JNBSA space -r space 6.0. As in when you execute the command, it will give you the window which can help you to manage 6.0 server. So a little more about administration console. So whatever the options you see in here, the first picture talks about the NetBackup administration console on Windows. The second one is basically Java based administration console. So whatever the options you see up on both the windows are going to be same. It does not make much difference. So if you look at the first one, that basically I'll just maximize the screen a bit. So the first option basically the first point basically displays the currently selected master server. So if in a case you are having some 10 master servers in your infrastructure, if you want to manage them in parallel, you don't need to open 10 different consoles. Instead, what you can do is that you can actually click on the server icon which is up here. When you click on that, it will ask you for the new server to manage. You can actually change the server you are managing through this console by clicking on that button. So as when you click on that, it will ask you for the server which you are willing to manage. So when you give the server name and say OK, it will take you the console. It basically provides the console to manage the other server. So the master server name you see on this first point is basically the server on which your administration console is pointed, and what other options you see in here are basically of the particular server. So the second point is basically NetBackup backup and restore backup archive and restore console. This is where you can actually do a user backup, or you can do a user backup or archive, or you can also do a restoration of files. So this is where the most of the NetBackup administrators spend time, because this is where you can actually restore the data. So the third one is activity monitor. Activity monitor basically displays the job information. It also displays the services, processes, and tape drive information. So fourth one, NetBackup management. So as I told you time back, NetBackup management has got multiple utilities that you can manage. So few of them are basically reports, policies, storage, catalog, host properties. So reports, this is where you can actually compile the information to verify, manage, and troubleshoot backup operations. If you want to pull out, if you want to check the NetBackup backup status report, you can actually pull it from here. If you want to pull something from the tape device error messages, disk error messages, or if you are actually willing to pull out the problematic report which talks about the list of problems that has happened in a particular window, you can still generate them by navigating under this particular section. Policies, this is where you'll be configuring what to backup, when to backup, how to backup, and where to backup, and how often the backup has to happen, and how long that particular backup has to be retained. So all this information basically gets stored on those particular policies. Storage is a place where you're going to store your data backup which you do. So this storage can be a Under the storage, you got multiple options like storage units, storage unit groups, SLPs, storage lifecycle policies, and SLP windows, SLP window. Catalog. So catalog is basically internal database which has the NetBackup image information. So basically for each NetBackup job there will be an image get created. So that image is basically contains the data which has been backed up. It also has some kind of header information which has the details like what is the client name, when is the backup date, expiration date, the tape on which the backup is stored, media server name, master server name, all of that. So this backup image basically resides in catalog, not the actual data, but the header information, or we call it as metadata information. So this image, if you wanna play around with this image, you can actually do it by going under this catalog. You can actually duplicate a backup image to a different tape or disk storage unit, or you can promote the backup image as the primary copy, or if you want to expire some backup images, you can do it, or if you want to import some images. So if in a case you are having some tapes which you brought in from a different NetBackup server, so let's say you're having NetBackup server 1 and server 2, you want to put in this NetBackup server 2 tapes into server 1 and do some restoration or some kind of verification. To get that NetBackup server 1 to understand these tapes, you will need to perform the imports. So that import basically recreates the NetBackup catalog information, so that operation can be performed under this catalog. And you can also do a verification of your images under this catalog section. So host properties are basically the place where you can customize the NetBackup configuration options. So this customization can happen for different servers like master servers, media servers, and clients. So this configuration information can be anything, can be a kind of buffer setting you do, or timeout settings, loggings. So all of this configuration changes can be done under this host properties. SLP window. SLP window is basically a feature which has come up with 7.6. This basically lets you to define the window for the SLP operations, the storage lifecycle policy operations. Applications are basically an option which lets you to do instant groups. These are basically for the Oracle intelligent policies. This is the place where you can create Oracle intelligent policies to protect your Oracle databases. NetBackup device management, media and device management. So this is where you can actually manage your media and devices. So under this there are multiple things like device monitor, media, device, and credentials. Device monitor is basically the place where you can manage your drives paths, and service records for the operators. So when you go into device monitor, it will actually list you the number of tape drives configured, and there you can actually see the status of the tape devices. If you want to bring up some tape devices, you can do it. If you want to bring down something, you can do it. You'll be able to see the number of drive paths for each tape drive and all of that. So media is basically the place where you can add and manage the removal medias. So under this media you'll be having something like media, the tape pools, the media pools, and the media groups. So all these options will be under this media tab. Devices is basically the place where you can add and configure manage storage devices. So when we say devices, it can be a tape storage device, or it can be a disk storage device, or it can be an open storage as well. So credentials, this is where you configure credentials for NDMP host, storage servers, or if in a case you are having some kind of VMware backups you are doing, this is where you'll be adding up your vCenter credentials. Access management, if in a case you wanna restrict the NetBackup access based on the user groups, you can actually enable this feature. This also provides audit trails which can help administrator to see who's doing what. Logging assistant, this is basically a tool which helps administrator to gather and upload the debug logs. So by default, when you open the administration console, it can be a Windows administration console, Java based administration console, You will be into this the home page, which has the multiple wizards. So let's look into the different wizards and backup has got. So you got something called NetBackup getting started wizard. So this will be for the first time use. So what you can do is that if you are deploying the server for the first time, this wizard will help you to configure and complete the configuration of the backup. So this will take you through the multiple number of wizards, something like device configuration wizard, volume configuration wizard, catalog backup wizard, policy configuration wizard. So device configuration wizard is basically the place or the wizard which will help you to configure the robot tape libraries and tape devices. Storage server wizard will help you to configure the storage or servers which actually manages the disk storage. Cloud storage server configuration for the cloud provider, if in a case you want to integrate the cloud storage provider into your NetBackup to store the data, you will need to go with this wizard. Disk pool configuration wizard. So as and when you complete the storage server configuration to bring in the disk pools for NetBackup usage, you will need to go with this wizard. This will actually create disk pools and make them available for the policies to store the backups. Volume configuration wizard. This is for the removal media configuration. Catalog backup wizard basically helps you to configure the backup for your catalog information. Policy configuration wizard. So as I told you, this is where you will be saying what to backup, when to backup, how to backup, and how long the backup has to be retained, all other information. So this basically helps you to create policies. Import image wizard. As I told you time back, this is where you'll be importing the images which you take from a different backup service. Import the NetBackup tapes which you take from a different backup service. Catalog recovery wizard. This is something you execute if in a case you are performing a catalog recovery. So if in a case your master server goes down and you want to have them rebuild on a different hardware, on the same hardware, as and when you put in the as and when you rebuild your operating system and some backup software, you will need to perform the catalog recovery to bring back all your catalog informations from your catalog tapes. So this wizard will help you to perform the catalog recovery. So that's about the NetBackup interfaces. If you're having any questions, feel free to post in the YouTube video comments. Thank you.